Watershed Association newsletter. But so my dad was an athletic director at collegiate school. This is after Joe had retired, and was the program director at camp. So our family came up, and my mom tutored and did some work in the office. I helped Karen a lot, being a gopher. And my sister was younger. My sister's Tina Talia. She lives in this area. She lives 5 minutes away from here.
And you live as well, right? You live?
No, we have some camp. We own the old Jacola camps.
Okay.
So, which is right next to the camp, which was unbelievable that we found those. But she was a little bit younger, and she was allowed to do some of the activities for the boys because she was young. So she did get to do some swimming lessons, horseback riding.
When I was very young, I did take swimming lessons with the boys. Really good.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Leona brought a magazine of old layouts, and it says on the inside that it was developed in 1924. Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was when I was in the Adirondack.
Not here. It started in the Adirondacks.
Oh, it doesn't say that.
It developed, so that's what I
You all will have to go look at, some of you already have, there are a number of displays up there.
A funny story my grandfather told me. They spent 3 summers in the Adirondacks on rented property. And when they decided he could make a go of it as a camp, he decided to look for property. He decided to come to Maine because the Adirondacks were too cold. But they were up at high elevation in the Adirondacks. And he came here in the fall of probably 26. And the real estate agent dragged him out from Portland, found the property. And he took off his shoes, rolled up his pants, walked in the lake, found it had a sand bottom, and he signed the contract that bought the property.
Who else do we have here from Great Oaks Connection? Sandy, you worked there on summer? Wow, how many summers did we work together there?
4. We worked 2 years washing dishes, and then we were promoted to the kitchen. And we made tons of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for those trips that they went on.
And then when Sandy was promoted to the kitchen, then I at 13, just turned 13, became a dishwasher.
Yes. That was my role too.
And yes, and Leona too. The 3 of us that worked at the same time.
You were promoted to the kitchen.
And so back then washing the dishes was washing by hand and drying
Oh,
by hand.
yes. Oh, yeah. But what was real nervous is that the state inspector came in, and we were all running around to make sure that the water was hot enough, and because he put his his measuring of the water, and then we'd say, oh, now we got through that. But yes, all the dishes came in from the 100 and some odd boys, and 2 of us was washing dishes and stacking, and what was, some of us, at night, we would go outside the room and hang around.
Sit underneath the apple tree.
That's right, there was an apple tree. And some of the counselors that wasn't on duty would come up and we would talk.
Okay, Crystal, that's enough.
The boys would come up with their dishes. I heard that you talked to Kyle. What did you talk about? So the boys knew that we were talking to their counselors. And of course, we said anything. It was always very nice, and we had fun telling them how we lived here in the wintertime. We added it. White.
And then you made us say, we parked the car in the car.
We told them we put our LL Bean boots on, and that how we just had to stay inside and rock our chairs. Just made it kind of interesting. But it was very
Good
nice.
time was had by your own.
Yes.
You make us, Carrie,
Kelly, if there was no electricity and no running water, where did you get the water to wash the dishes?
Oh,
Was there a
exactly.
well? Was there a well?
There was not running water, I understand, in the cabins, but there were wash houses.
We had wash houses which had running water and one little lake hole. And no hot water, just right out of the lake. And then up at the main building, there was hot water. But it wasn't until, I'm gonna say, after the war that originally the water system was run by gravity only in a big holding tank up in the hayloft of the barn. And one of the council's job was always, whenever they ran out of water in the middle of the night, we had to go start the gasoline pump and pump the water back up into the hayloft. And then eventually we got a pump system, and we still use it, where we draw the water out of the lake and use the lake water. But we always use the lake water. Well, I guess when I first started, they had a well. But then they quickly moved over to the lake, and the camp grew bigger.
Why don't you tell me about the lean-to? Because that still exists, it's on the Archeckies property.
Yeah.
Is that the lean-to that was in the picture?
It might have been the same area, but
Yeah.
back in, I believe it was the late 50s, one summer project was to build a lean-to where the campers could go out and spend the night camping on the camp property. And the lean-to still stands, which is a testament to the people who built it. So.
Well, Frank told us a story about that too. He said that they were going to build, whoever had this idea that they wanted to build that, was going to build a log lean-to.
That's it.
Was it a log
It was
lean-to?
built out of logs from the property.
Okay. He was talking about having a little trouble with finding a saw and all of these things. So he had a bit of a tale to tell about the development of the lean-to. Did you want to say something?
Yes, my name's Stuart Goodwin. My family ran an insurance agency. Been away for 100 years, but my real claim to fame is I was a fishing counselor at Great Oaks Camp. So, some of you may know that we didn't actually fish in Saturday Pond. We walked over to Moose Pond, where they kept a boat for us, and we would catch the fish. And we always had to put a limit on the boys, because the boys wanted to keep all of them, of course. But the catch was we had to clean them, bring them back and clean them, so that sort of limited how many we got. Come back and clean the fish outside the kitchen, and that night the boys who liked fish would have fish fry. Also, I was a cabin counselor too in one of those plush cabins. Boys, luckily not cats. And hi, Ted.
When were you there?
Early 70s.
Early 70s.
Young Pat Kritzka was there as well.
Yeah.
I should mention my connection to you too is another counselor was a fellow named Jan Van Morik,
Oh, yes.
who happens to be a cousin. And I got to know Jan quite well, so after camp I would visit his grandparents' place in Scribner Hill. Nellie and John Hankins were very close.
Now, John Hankins' son Tom is here with us tonight from Seattle. Well, that's Jan's uncle, right?
Right.
You're Jan's uncle.
Right.
Yeah. Anybody else connected or just interested?
I'll do a follow-up on Crystal's talking with the counselors. Of course, it has nothing to do with that, but
Yeah.
I did dishes 2 summers, and then I worked the slides the next summer. And it seems as though coffee was not served every day. It was served a day and then tea, and it alternated. Well, I can remember some of those counselors having late nights, and they would sneak over to the slide and ask for a tea bag on a coffee morning to lace their coffee with. And I call that jolt.
What was the slide?
Well, the slide was the counter where we serve food.
The window out into the dining room?
Yes.
Okay.
And the window opened up, and the little counselors, the little waiters would come and to take their tray.
I was pretty young. I think I was only 13 probably when I started And it was the first time I had to pay Social Security. I would not have been there had it not been for Betty's mother, Freeman. I called her Gladys Freeman. And she was the cook there for years, and she was just wonderful I think all the campus and all the counselors loved her as well. I can assure you, the kids that worked in the kitchen adored her. And I remember on donut day, she put the donut holes in the sugar barrel, and then they could help us out.
And she slept right off the kitchen.
Yeah. And she knew where we were and what was going on. I remember for a while we slept in an upstairs kind of little bedroom because there was a crow that used to come in the morning and sit on the windowsill and rap on the glass and try to get our attention. And he'd bring you something. He'd bring a nail that he picked up or something bright that he picked up, and he'd be there. And then eventually we were down where the old infirmary was in the building. I think that's probably where we were.
Not I.
No?
No, we were in the main building,
Yeah.
in the old building.
Right, right. We were two of us. Anything else anybody would like to add to the conversation? Yes?
I'm formerly Patty McAllister, and Freeney was my grandmother, so that's how I got into the circle, I guess you could say. I was supposed to be her gopher to go up and down the stairs, but something happened and they lost their dishwasher. So myself and a good friend of mine, we did dishes. It was early 70s for about 3 years. So, and we had hot water and a dishwasher, and I remember when the guy would come with the dry ice, we'd put some in there and we'd say, look at this water is really hot. And I put my hand in, no it's not. And they were like freaking out because it was steaming away. And then I remember over the dining room, there was a crawl space. So we went up there, snuck up there, and one of the counselors, knew everybody, and the kids were playing bingo, and it was like Gillian or something like that. His name was, hey, Gillian, and the kids looking around, hey, Gillian, it's God. And I also had my first French kiss there.
Jean, do you have anything to add?
I think that ended very nicely.
Well, it's wonderful to have such a nice crowd and to have participants who were there and knew the place and loved the place. And so we are very appreciative that you attended and made your contributions, because it will help us to better understand.
And we'll certainly appreciate it. All of them.
Well, good.
And if anybody wants to come in and have a look, just, come and knock on the buildings that are still there. Say hello, and we're happy to have you.
I'm happy to have you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
And if anyone has a picture of the old totem pole that was at the fire site, we would love to we'll just copy it. We would love to. We have somebody that can duplicate it for us.
What are your names? What are your names? I don't know.
Amy O'Shea and Will Young. We're at 99 trees. We have lots of oak trees, so.
But they're not that great.
I really never know oak trees.
Are we ready to call it a day? We have some refreshments, some cookies, and
Also, there's Jean wants to show something. Let's give a hand to the presenter. Jean has received another acquisition from the community, and I'll let her explain and do show and tell. And then, as Callie mentioned, we have some refreshments, and you can look at what they brought to and ask questions and enjoy yourself. Jean?
This is very fragile, but this was presented to us today. And we acquisition. It is an old, the awfully careful because her neck is broken, but she is 100 years old at least. And she was owned by, I believe, by Sarah, I forgot the last name, but I've got it written down someplace. And Hamlin, Sarah Hamlin, who lived, I'm not quite sure where she lived, presented to us by Dan Fogg.
Yes, Spurs Corner, she lived in Spurs Corner.
All right, good, there you know. Yeah, I was going to say Spurs Corner. And in addition to that, did you get a picture? You did, okay. In addition to that, 2 days before, I like this one even better. This was also owned by Sarah Hamlin. If you can see it, it's all handmade. And
Actually, Hanscom, isn't it? It's Hanscom.
Yeah.
Hanscom, Sarah Hanscom.
She was a Hamlin.
Yeah, but she was a Hamlin, but, yeah.
I'm going to leave them up here, but please don't rub your fingers on them because they are pretty fragile. So I'm trying to keep them in acid-free tissue paper, and but be sure to take a look because they're good. They're good stuff, and we're probably have them. Okay, thank you.
Thank you all for coming.